Hi, I'm Azzurra Catucci.
And can you explain your job and where you're living right now?
Yes. So I currently work for a film and music producer in Los Angeles. That is where I work and where I live. We basically produce content all around the clock. We're making songs, whether it be for artists signed to our label or whether it be for TV shows and movies. Most recently, we worked on The Prom, which was a film for Netflix. And currently, we're working on the TV series Monarch, which is going to be on Fox in January. So we basically produce all of the songs for any project that we're working on, and we also creatively develop and produce different content as well.
Very cool. So you are very active on social media. Have you seen, what is your opinion? Do you think social media is positive or do you see it in a negative light or do you see both? What's your view on social media?
I think social media is definitely influential and does have an impact on people no matter the age, no matter where you come from. People that want to say that they are not affected by social media, I think that is kind of silly, because if you use it, you are affected by it, even if it's just the fact that you use it. Like, it is doing
Right.
something to your life. So, but what I will say is that I do think it's how it influences you is very much different person to person. Um, and it just totally depends on an individual's perspective and their relationship with the world around them and technology. Um, I've seen social media do very positive things for media, for individuals, for companies. But I've also seen social media have a very negative impact on usually individuals. And of course, social media can also tear down companies if, things get out and they start being canceled and things like that. Social media definitely drives that culture. But it is ultimately, I think, the consumer's method of interacting and also the consumer's perspective on what they're seeing and what they're choosing to follow, and then also what gets pushed to their page. Because sometimes there are things, there's a lot of things, for instance, that one person can see that might be motivating to them. And I'll just use an example of maybe a health food blog or Instagram that might be very motivating to some people, and they're like, wow, I see all this healthy food and these great delicious meals, and that really motivates me to want to be healthy. That makes me feel like it's achievable for me and that I can do that. But another person can see the same thing and say, wow, that looks really hard, that looks like a lot of effort, and I don't have those vegetables in my house. That could never be. And now I feel really bad about myself and that I'll never be able to achieve a healthy lifestyle like this person. And it's really interesting to kind of try to decipher what is going to land in audiences, because I really do think it's such an individual case by case thing. So I definitely see social media having the impact all ways. And I think just at the end of the day, it depends on an individual and how, a lot of things that we don't know about them.
Yeah, I agree. And I love the point that you made because social media, we don't know who's behind the phone, who's behind the camera, essentially. And so we can't really judge based on one post or one reaction
Mm-hmm.
because we don't really know who they are. And everybody takes things differently as human
Right.
beings. Yeah. So I love that. So you kind of mentioned cancel culture, and recently that has been a huge thing in social media, especially with the emergence of TikTok, because people are constantly on the app and it's a video, so you're seeing more things. What is your view on cancel culture, and do you think TikTok has been doing a good job regulating these videos and posts about cancel culture?
I think cancel culture is definitely, it is very rampant right now. And it seems that at the core of it, the intent is to be positive. Like people are trying to say what happened here was wrong, and these are the reasons why, and this is why it can't happen again. This is why we're canceling this.
Yeah.
So that overall sounds like a positive thing. Like, oh, something bad happened. Let's avoid that, and let's make sure people understand why it's not good. But at the same token, there's a lot of people on the internet that feel empowered by being behind a screen and like there's less at stake, and they start being very aggressive. And I think just the lack of personal interaction really fuels that aggression. And you sometimes forget that there's another human behind the screen, or at this point, who even knows if there's a human? There's so many like fake accounts going on. So, and things that are just saying stuff, and robots that literally know how to respond to statements. So, it's easy to really get detached from what's going on the internet. But cancel culture, it seems to start as something with a positive intent, but it really morphs into a thing where you have to ask yourself, are we going to forgive someone that is clearly apologetic about it, about what they've done? And I think TikTok does a great job at pushing things to your page where someone is allowed to like explain themselves, or say, listen, this happened 5 years ago, I did that, I know I did that, I have not done that since then. Like, and suddenly people are like forgiving them and responding to their new, like, turning of a new leaf, for lack of a better term. Mm-hmm. But I think that's great because like people do change and people learn and unlearn things all the time. And I do think TikTok has given an avenue of like letting people speak their mind and be able to say like, hey, I know I did something bad and I understand why it's wrong now, but that was years ago and this is how I'm changing, or this is how I have changed. And I think that's more important than totally canceling someone out. It's seeing someone change for the better and be able to learn new things and adapt. As opposed to if you're just shutting someone down and they're just like being made to feel like they did something horrible and there's no forgiveness, then that person will more often than not like not even be motivated to try to learn the other opinion of it. So that's how I see it.
Yeah, I agree. And I also love that analysis of it, because I really do like that TikTok has the ability for people to really be more authentic and you learn the side of them as who they are. And part of life is growing and finding who you are as a person and learning along the way. And I think it's kind of cool that TikTok gives us that we can grow with the platform and learn and explain that we are just young and still learning. So I think that's really important. Right. But at the same point, I do feel like cyberbullying has become more apparent on TikTok just because the platform is so huge and people are constantly creating content on it. What are ways that you could see or want to see TikTok combating anti-bullying? Like, do you have any ideas? If not, it's totally fine. But do you have any ideas of how you could see them regulating this content so it's not hurting everyone if they're getting bullied?
Right. It's definitely a tricky question because that like totally brings up a topic of censorship and free speech. Yeah. I've definitely like hesitated posting things on TikTok and like thought to myself, is some random person going to make a mean comment about this? Like, oh gosh, if they do, like, I got to be ready, like, just in case it happens, like some random person I don't know. And I definitely don't think that when I'm posting on Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. Like, those thoughts do not cross my mind. But when I'm posting on TikTok, I'm like, there's a chance that some person is going to come across this and just want to say something mean just for the what's it called? Just for the sake of being mean. And it is definitely something I've noticed more on TikTok than other places. So it's interesting because TikTok is just, it pushes out so randomly. And therefore, like, the access to all of these things is so quick. Like, yes, you have your little algorithm and you will get shown things that are relevant to you, but like, people can see anything from anywhere, and it's easier than searching on YouTube. It's easier than searching Reddit. So the most random person can see your stuff. You're really like you're an open target, basically, for someone that is just sitting around and wants to bully. So the ways that TikTok can combat that, it is tricky because like you can't, aside from disabling comments, there isn't really much to do. Do they have the feature where like the creator can filter words that are said in the comments?
I don't think so yet. And that's something that Raj and I were actually talking about. I do have to look into that more, but yeah, I think that's awesome. I know you can turn off comments. I know it can be friends only comments. I think TikTok is slowly working towards finding.
The friends only
avenues.
comments, I think, is a great feature. And I actually haven't even thought about using it, but like, thankfully I haven't gotten bullying comments on TikTok.
Yeah.
So, and maybe that's why I haven't really like paid attention to it, but I think that honestly sounds like a great solve, because then it's like it's only people you also follow that can say things, and then like you already have an established like positive relationship with them. So that seems like a good thing. But it's a lot of like, I wonder if those mean accounts that exist are actual like human beings, or if they are just bots that are spamming negativity.
Right. I agree. I guess we'll find out someday, but I do agree with that. That's an interesting point. So with TikTok, they have all of these emerging influencers who have become essentially celebrities, and they uphold this standard. And I think a lot of people look up to them and say, I want to be just like them, and I want to look like that. And, it filters negative, like thoughts about ourselves sometimes, because we're like, why can't we achieve that? Do you think that some of these influencers are doing a good job at being authentic and kind of sharing with us that you don't have to be like me, and that it's okay to be yourself? And just, I guess what I'm saying is, like, do you think some of these influencers put out a positive message to other people?
I think most of them put out an indifferent message. Like, I think that they are just doing what works for them, and that's totally fine. I do wish that because they are in a position of influence, like, I would love if they spread a positive message. But like, it's also, they didn't sign up for this, so it's not necessarily their responsibility to be like leading this huge social justice change internet. But again, I would love it if they did, because they do hold that power, and they like really have their finger on Gen Z, and those are the people that are really using TikTok right now. But I have not seen any of them really do or say much on any kind of social topic. It's primarily videos of doing trends, dancing, being with friends, which is fine. But yeah, I have not seen that kind of content coming from them. But at the same time, when I look at their comments, which I don't do it super often, but if I do, I don't notice them getting bullied a lot.
Right.
Which is nice, because usually people with that level of fame like are subject to a lot of negative comments, but I actually don't see that. So I wonder if that has to do with it. Like, oh, it's not happening to me, so I don't have to say anything.
Right. I agree. That's a very valid point as well. And I don't really see many negative comments. And if you see something, you normally see it like in the news with these influencers. It's not like people are going to like bring it up in the comments. You see it on like a larger source. So I think that's really interesting as well. So then I only have a few more questions for you, but so do you have any advice for anyone who is starting out on these platforms and may be experiencing nerves, or they may even be experiencing cyberbullies? Do you have any advice that you would give to someone on these platforms?
I would say that, first of all, everyone's going to think it's stupid until it's done. So if you ever need like to kill that fear of like, oh gosh, like I don't want to post a haul or I don't want to post an outfit of the day because everyone's going to think I'm silly, and all my friends and vague acquaintances are going to be like, oh my gosh, they're trying to be an influencer. That fear kills so much potential, and it's so heartbreaking. Like you could be so talented and you could be the next person that like styles a celebrity, and just because you didn't start posting those videos of your outfits of the day, like you might not ever get that platform.
Right.
So I just think there's never any harm in putting yourself out there, but I totally feel the fear. As I've said, like I've literally wondered about it myself, because it is definitely like there are shark-filled waters out there and people can be really mean. So I think after just telling yourself like, listen, I just have to take the first step. Everyone, you got to start somewhere. But after that, it's honestly like knowing that you can't please everybody and someone is going to have a different opinion than you. And there's also some mean-hearted people that are unhappy for whatever reason and they're taking it out on you. Like these people that don't know you do have nothing personal against you. They're just saying stuff to say it.
Right.
So I think it's so important to keep in mind that it's not personal, and it's like, of course, those words will probably hurt to see, but if you can keep in mind that they don't know who you are whatsoever, and therefore their opinion does not matter. It doesn't affect you in any way. It's not your closest friend's opinion. It's not a parent's opinion. It is a random person on the internet just saying stuff. And more often than not, they probably haven't had the confidence to go out and put their ideas onto the internet. So they're just like jealous that you have done it. So I would say it's just you take them with a grain of salt, like laugh them off, because it's really all about perspective. And like if you can just remember like in your soul that this is what people are saying is not defining who you are by any means, and like to focus on the positive compliments and the people that are engaging with your content, that is what to focus on. And it's so easy to want to read the negative things, but it's really not worth the energy. So I would say don't even pay mind to them. Don't even let them get to you, and just go for it, and don't let fear hold you back. And like stay true to what you want to be doing and like who you are.
I love that, and I'm totally gonna use that for my life. Do you have anything else you would like to add just on the topic, or?
I guess I've honestly seen like pretty positive things on TikTok. I've noticed a lot of people feel like they have a safe space there. For posting things that are like I saw this is not me who said this. I don't know who said this, but someone was like, Instagram is about like superficial trends, whereas TikTok, you blow up because people actually like who you are.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting because I'm like, oh, wow, like that's so true. This guy that's like a total Marvel nerd completely blew up because he's just posting videos about Marvel. Right. And then the same thing happened to like this vegan chef that I follow. It's like, oh, she's just posting vegan recipes and now she's blowing up because she's just doing what she loves. Right. So I've actually noticed a lot of reward on TikTok coming from being your authentic self. Yeah. And the negative comments that I see are usually towards girls or guys that are like that are just like doing the trends, honestly, and following what influencers are doing. And like no one should be bullied for doing that, and no one should be bullied for following like trends, because anyone can do what they want. But I've just noticed that that's where I see the negativity come in. It's like when that stuff is being followed, as opposed to when people are just like putting themselves out there and doing their own like unique thing. That's where I see a lot of like, this is so cool. I think like this too. Like, hell yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you so much. This is all amazing information.